you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks, Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show's family loves you, wants to make you better, because we know you have better inside of you. And that's why we publish the podcast 3 to 4 times a day, 10 to 15 times a week, and 16 years and 24 episodes, is because we know that if we fill you with the bucket of data and amazing authors and their journeys, their stories, their cathartic moments they overcome on the show, you'll become a better person. And then you'll just shine when you walk around, and you won't need to turn on your headlights at night. No, I'm just kidding. You still have to turn those on by law. Anyway, guys, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss for your family and friends, to facebook.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today, an amazing young lady on the show. We're going to be talking about her book called The Sea Glass Soul, Forged by Fire, Tempered by the Sea. Out December 3rd, 2024. Jamie Zenteno joins us in the show. We're going to be talking about her book, her insights, some of the different work that she does, etc., etc. She has 2 beautiful girls she lives with in a little country farmhouse down in the southeast Texas. Every year, they pick mulberries off the trees and wait for the anticipation for the honeysuckles to bloom. Though she's new to the writing industry in a professional setting, it's always been a passion of hers, and close friends will tell you this is something they've always saw her doing. So welcome to the show. How are you, Jamie?
I am doing well. It is sunny, and we've got that Texas humidity down here going on.
Oh, boy, that Texas humidity. Well, as long as you got the barbecue, you're in business. Texas barbecue. That's great barbecue. So, Jamie, give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Sure. So people can find me at jamiezenteno.com. Super simple, very easy, and short and to the point.
So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your book, The Sea Glass Soul?
So this book is how God takes all of our broken pieces and turns them into something beautiful like sea glass. So we know when something breaks, it's not pretty, and we've got all these pieces on the ground and they get swept up, and then usually the breaking, it sucks. It's not pretty. So we have to go through all these different seasons and elements. So it's a very sweet alliteration that God gave me to take these broken pieces, because in order for sea glass to become beautiful, it has to go through into the ocean, gets dumped there by pirates or, sea captains or something. Who knows?
That's what happened to me. Pirates dumped me in the ocean. Right. I had to walk the plank.
Oh, no. So it goes from these broken pieces, and it has to go through the storms of life, and then it has to get sifted through the waves, and the salt has that dehydration process that goes through the glass also, and then it gets washed onto the shore. But sometimes when we get washed onto the shore, we have to go back into the sea for another life lesson. So we're not done yet. And eventually we get washed on the shore, and, God picks us up and is like, hey, this part of you is done now. Let's go back and finish the other part of you.
Yeah, I think I've been pulled in the sea a few times on some of those sandpaper routes there. But it's right. You have a picture on the cover of the book. I'll tell it to people who are watching the show live. The cover on the picture of the book of some beautiful sea glass. That's the glass that I know. There's a place in California, I think it is, where they have, I think it's called Sea Glass Beach or something, or Rainbow Beach or something. And I guess a boat had gone down that back in the early 1900s or something, that had like all these glass bottles on it or something. It's probably a bottle of, I don't know, maybe it was a thing of Coca-Cola or something. But anyway, somehow or another, there's this concentration of glass there. And it goes through the process you talked about and washes up, and so there's just this rainbow of this glass, and of course it's not sharp anymore. It's now rounded off, and there's probably part of that analogy in what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so then you can pick them up and, I don't know, put a glued glass bottle back together if you want to.
I mean, you could try. It may not have, capacity to hold very much water or a drink in it anymore.
That's my problem. Every time I put myself back together, I still have leakies everywhere. I'm like, something's still not fixed.
No one's perfect, right?
Yeah. Where did you get the idea for the title?
Kind of one of those moments when God wakes you up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. He's like, hey, you're going to write a book. And I'm like, hey, no, I'm not. And he's like, yeah, get your paper out. Let's go. I'm like, all right, fine.
This guy's pretty demanding at 3 a.m. What the hell is going on?
So I got my journal out. I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to give this to me, you're going to have to really give it to me. So he gave me the title, and it was The Sea Glass Soul. I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to write about? Because can't just have a book with, nothing in it. And he started giving me the chapter titles and what all was going to be in it. I'm like, okay, well, I guess we got a book after all. Then let's get working on it.
Now, did you ever been exposed to Sea Glass Soul? Like, if I was thinking of a great book title, it's a great book title. I wouldn't remember that Sea Glass Beach or whatever it's called in SoCal.
So we kind of have our own little secret spot. My daughter's here on the Gulf Coast of Texas where we go find sea glass. And when my oldest daughter was 4, we went to go fishing and we started looking for seashells and we found sea glass. I'm like, well, I wonder if there's any more out here. So we started finding several more, and we have a jar in our bathroom full of sea glass now. And in fact, when my boss goes on vacation, different places, she brings me back sea glass from different places around the world. So it's kind of neat. It's a cool collection.
Yeah, what a great analogy too. I love sea glass. The only problem is it kind of looks like candy. You're like tempted to chew it. And you're like, don't do that. It's glass.
Yeah, in fact, my youngest daughter, she found one that looked like a little Sour Patch Kid. She's like, Mom, looks like Sour Patch Kid. I'm like, you can't eat it.
You can't eat it because that never ends well. But we've probably eaten a few glass in our lessons we learn in life, or the dichotic moments we go through in life. And so you kind of use that analogy of the sea glass on how we go through these cathartic moments in our life, these challenges, these internal struggles, and how we kind of find ourselves again. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's how I came up with the subtitle to the book. So, Forged by Fire, Tempered by the Sea. So, a lot of our life storms they're hot. They're not great. Sometimes we get burned and we get scarred from those things, but it goes to the alliteration of being tempered by the sea. We're tempered by the life lessons and the people around us and the friendship and the fellowship and the community that we have with our friends or other people or God that comes into our lives and helps us to balance things back out.
I mean, it's a great way of thinking about stuff. It's interesting how sometimes we understand things better when it's told through a story sort of analogy, as opposed to when, if you just tell people, hey, just be a better person, eh? And you're like, well, that's great. What do I do with that information? But sometimes stories like this that have like an analogy or a parable to them, we can understand it better because we see it from kind of outside of ourselves. What's that old saying? The fish can't see water and we can't see air. It's hard to see. The analogy is it's hard to see outside of ourselves. Yeah. Fish can't see water. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's an analogy. I don't know if they could taste it. Do you think you could taste seawater?
I don't know. I don't know if they have taste buds. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm not sure. Well, someone should look into if fish have taste buds. We should check that out because I don't know. That would be like, I don't know, but that would really, really suck too. Because if you could taste seawater, I don't know. There's no joke.
Probably some things you wouldn't want to taste in seawater.
That's right. That's right. You're like, I think I'm in the kiddie pool. I know what that means.
Right.
Anyway, so tell us about you and your story in your life. What was your journey through life? And imagine maybe some of the things you draw and stories you tell in the story in the book are from that. So give us a rundown on what your journey was.
So I grew up kind of fast. My mom was diagnosed with a neuromuscular disease when I was 10 years old. Oh, so wow. Big sister had to become kind of that mom role also at being 10. We really weren't sure how long she was going to make it. So there's a lot of life lessons that go along with that, having to grow up really fast, having a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. But in turn, if I wouldn't have gone through that, I know I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So fast forward, I've had a lot of ministry opportunities through church and mission work and youth ministry, and got married, had some kids. Things didn't work out the way we wanted to. So there was a divorce, and it got kind of messy, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's kind of how divorces work, actually.
They're messy.
There are very few I see that aren't.
Yeah. So in the middle of going through that divorce is when this book was forged. And throughout the writing process, there was a lot of lessons that I learned, and I had to learn how to control my this and my fears and things like that, because there was a lot going on in different places. I'm like, man, I didn't want this. I didn't want to be a single mom, 2 kids. This sucks. This is crazy. But within that, God gives you the people to come into your life to help you through that process and walk with you and help you rebalance out everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are cathartic times. Divorces, it's the identity, the death of a marriage. Now, you mentioned the ministries and church a few times. What is your relationship to that? Did you grow up in the church? Did you find it later? What's the story of your journey there?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in church, and my parents actually helped put the stones on the church that I grew up in as a kid. So I've been in church my whole entire life, and whether it was helping box stuff up for a garage sale or doing kids ministry or be on the worship team, there's always been a spot where I've been at church somehow. But of course, you grow up and you have your own rocky times and you find your own path in life. And so at the end of high school, became a missionary to other countries.
Oh, wow.
I went to Russia a couple of times, went to Belize a few times. And after that, got into youth ministry, became a youth pastor, and worked with kids for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And then we moved to a different church. And as this book grew, I forged a new ministry, Jamie's Zenteno ministry. So it's been a different kind of walk. It's been a whole new experience, but it's been a good one.
So are you a minister or a reverend, a preacher?
So not a pastor, not any of that. So Jamie's Zenteno Ministries is there to encourage the modern world, however that may be. So I am a blogger. I blog a couple times a month. I also have a full-time job, and I'm a mom, so I got to fit it in when I can.
Yeah, mom's a full-time job too. Yeah.
A lot of stuff. So I do blogging. But then also I have a retreat coming up called the Sea Glass Soul Weekend Retreat. So that'll be where I take 10 women, and we're going to go to Galveston Island, and we will be going through the whole entire book. And really, I hope that as women attend this retreat, that they can find their own healing and where God wants them to be at, and they can find their own sea glass soul by the end of the weekend.
There you go. Well, that should be a lot of fun. And people, what's the website? Well, you can give us again where people can find details on how to contact you about this.
Sure. So that is jamiezenteno.com. And if they go to shop, then all of those event details are right there.
And you're doing a lot of meet the author stuff I see here too, where you're touring around, having book signatures and stuff like that. That's got to be fun, right?
It is fun. Everything's local right now, and I hope that grows as more books come out. But it's been a fun journey, and I connected with a little small shop on the island. It was really crazy. A friend of mine was shopping. She said, "I really think you need to check out this shop." I'm like, "Okay." So we went down there, and turns out this shop is a block down from where my family used to have a 1900s ice store on the island. I'm like, "Well, that's really cool to just have my history reintroduced back onto the island like that." It's really neat.
Yeah. And it looks like you did one last year called Paint Your Ocean Workshop.
So that's actually coming up. We're going to be doing that this fall too.
In October, it looks like, I guess.
So Paint Your Ocean Workshop that has the idea of, I believe that artwork is a way that we can express our feelings and our emotions in whatever form or fashion, right? And so the point of this workshop is to get people who attend to paint their feelings basically on a canvas. So we're going to go by the ocean and we're going to paint. And we're going to, if you have a messy heart and it feels like a hurricane, then hey, paint that. If it's calm and peaceful, like a sunset on a summer day, paint that. Let's get those feelings out.
Yeah, I have this. I'm looking at the picture of the easel there on the beach that you have set up, and I'm thinking, it's a beautiful. It shows a beautiful picture of of just kind of a placid ocean, a little bit of waves there coming to the shore. But I can see someone they paint some really stormy, dark picture, and you're just like, yeah, we need to help you.
And we pray for you now.
No,
kind of a thing. Yeah.
The power of Christ compels you. Start throwing holy water on. But that's really beautiful. In the Sea Glass Soul Weekend, the Galveston Island, my understanding, it's a beautiful island there. The one thing, I moved back to California. I grew up in California as a kid, and I lived with the ocean. I was a beach kid. My mom, she had enough of us during the summer, and so she would take us and try and drown us in Santa Monica Beach. No, she didn't. We did try and drown a couple times. I think I was trying to kill my brother off, but I found I was the first child, so when the second child came along, I was like, I get half the presents. What the hell? Yeah, you're first child.
Younger siblings or something. I get it.
Yeah, I'm always like, man, you're cutting into my Christmas action, buddy. You got to go. So I grew up that way, and then I can't remember how many years ago, but I moved back to California for about 3 years, and I really so anytime I was having just the worst time, whatever life, this, that, and the other, business, bullshit, all that stuff, I would go down to the beach and take my dogs down to the beach. That helps too. And I would tell you, it would really, the beach would ground me because, I'd go down there with all these problems in my head and all these anxieties, all these worries and fears and whatever, and you would just sit there and just the lapping of the waves, just the calm of the ocean. And something about the consistency of it too, I think, is calming, and you kind of breathe, I think, better down there because you're breathing in that wonderful sea air. Maybe there's something about the salt in the air, but man, I sit down there for about a half an hour, and I look at the ocean and I look at the mountains and I look at the sunset, and I would just think, this stuff has been here for millennia, and all this sand that's washed up on the beach. I mean, maybe it was a small sea glass sort of experience because it was sand. But I look at the sand and I'd be like, this stuff has been here for eons of time. This sunset that I'm watching is going to be here long after I'm gone, and probably has been here for eons of time. And everything's been fine for, I don't know, I guess the earth or universe. But it just made me realize how small my stupid little problems were. Like by the time after about an hour, I get done and I'd be like, it would help you open up your aperture to the big picture of life and the world. And sometimes our little problems are just silly little problems, and they'll be gone tomorrow. And sometimes our little insecurities and whatever, we have bigger problems sometimes that take harder and more time to solve, but it would kind of put things in perspective. And so, yeah, going to the beach really helps. It would always reset me, and I would come back thinking, you and your silly little bag of problems, Chris, knock it off, grow up.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was for me too. And I wrote a lot of my book by the sea. I had this spot by the rocks. I would go sit the days I didn't have my kids, and I would just sit there in my journal and grab iced coffee or Chick-fil-A on the way there, sit in the back of the truck and just sit there. But for me, it was as the waves are coming to me, then I would just kind of say, okay, well, as the waves leave, then take all that junk with you. Take my anxiety, insecurities, and just let it go.
Yeah, bring in the fresh and take out the garbage.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I enjoy I always enjoy standing in the ocean with my feet, and you kind of feel the waves move away from you and then come back in. It's almost like a little massage sort of thing. But, feeling the waves crash up against your feet and your legs, and, and you just feel like you're connected to something and much bigger than yourself. And, and I remember sometimes I would just sit there and I'd be like, God, my problems are silly. It was, I can solve these. It's not that big of a deal. I'm going to be fine. All this stuff was here tomorrow. It'll be here again tomorrow. I can survive. And it would just give me that perspective. So I like how you're doing the workshops there and different things.
You.
Do you do any coaching or call counseling, things of that nature that we need to promote?
I haven't yet, but we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Now, this is your first book, right?
Yeah, this is the first book. I have another one that I'm starting to write. And then my daughters and I, we are starting to write a children's book.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We
so
just had a children's book author on, I think, earlier today.
Oh, okay,
Today or
awesome.
yesterday. And yeah, I mean, children's books are really great because we need more children to read. That's really important. Yeah, I mean, looking at these stupid ass phones and growing up that way. I mean, I don't know about you and how young you are. You're very young, but for me, I grew up in the
You're
age.
not young, but thank you.
We grew up in the. I grew up in the age where we didn't have phones, so you go look at the beach and you go do things and you go meet people and you'd interact with them one on one. And and then these phones kind of are different, so I have a different perspective on the world. Maybe you do too, but a lot of these young people, they 2 years old, they were handed a iPad or a phone to keep them busy and kind of babysit them a little bit, but they've grown up with that world, and a lot of them, they can't see beyond this little sort of thing, and they have trouble interacting in the world. So I love people who write children's books. Do you want to tease out anything about it? Is there an anticipated date or title or plot?
It's going to be about butterflies. It's down here in Texas.
Oh.
We're actually in the pathway of monarch butterfly migration.
Oh, really?
So that's
beautiful.
going to be the theme of it. It's not going to be a monarch butterfly. It's going to be a different kind. But the purpose of her little story is going to be she's going through life and she wants things to be a perfect way, and she's trying to figure out how to be this certain way, and she gets frustrated because it's really just not working out. And so by the end of the story, she's like, okay, let's reset. Let's look at the bigger picture. So that'll be kind of the premise for the children's story. Then the other one is going to be talking about different emotions and how they impact us and how to express those in a healthy way.
Yeah, that's always good too, because children sometimes struggle with being able to express their emotions or being able to understand their emotions or what's going on with them, and ask for help and different things. The world comes at them really hard and they don't have a whole lot of callousness to, me. I'm a jaded old man. You can throw shit at me all day long. I'm like, yeah, okay. Unless you're going to kill me, just leave. But yeah, I mean, when you're young, and it's hard to interpret the world. And I think a lot of the children's books, they really help women or children interpret the world and kind of understand things or what's going better. And, basically like, why are adults fucked up?
Yeah.
How to understand your adult. That's not looking good. Why is your parents dumb? No, I'm just kidding. Why are your parents the way they are? Like, what's going on with that? And understanding, giving them an outside picture, because sometimes they're with parents that are on their own journey of trauma and resolution and trying to find that sort of thing. So I think that's a worthy endeavor. And then you're writing with your daughters, I guess.
Yeah, so 2 weekends ago, we had our whole kitchen table full with papers and drawings and storylines and plot twists and how is this going to work. But I want them to learn how to do those things too. So when they get to be older, they have another skill set in their pocket and they have something to look forward to. Like, hey, like we published a book with Mom.
That is awesome, man. I mean, I wish my parents had got me started on that journey much earlier and stuff. But, it is what it is. But I'm glad you're getting them into it because, it's kind of cool when you write a book. It's really hard. But when you first write a book, you're like, you get to walk around. People kind of treat you different, too. It's really weird. Like, they're like, oh, you write a book. Oh, you're Mr. Smarty Pants over here. And
I don't know. There was a lot of editing.
That's the only thing I don't like about book writing is the editing part. But, if you survive that whole thing, you come out the other side. And then what's really interesting is people just kind of look at you different because they understand how hard it is. A lot of people have tried to write a book and they just get lost in it. So what's the future of what you see in your book writing thing? Are you going to focus on the children's book? Do you see maybe some other books coming out of this one or a series or anything like that?
Well, I think it might be a parallel journey with children's books and women's encouragement books. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I think I'm going to end up landing. I don't want to go too wide with my focus and then miss the niche of people I'm trying to focus on and reach. But I think that as far as women's ministry books, I do have several ideas already lined up. And then for the children's books, I'm kind of allowing my daughters to guide that journey. But my little one, she was already saying, Mom, we could have like a series of 5 books. And then she gave me the titles for them. I'm like, whoa, slow down. We got to get one done first.
Yeah. One at a time. But, people get there. Now, I think you had a support you have just recently for those listening, sometimes 10 years from now on YouTube. It's 2025 in, what month are we in? July? There was recently some flooding that happened in Texas, and you're doing some support for that. Tell us about that.
Yes. So it's probably a global story by now. So Kerrville, Texas Hill Country, they had a lot of flooding, and they are inundated with a lot of support already, which is great to see. One thing that Jamie's Zenteno Ministries is kind of taking on is we are collecting school supplies for the schools up there. I'm in contact with 3 of the schools up there already. And so we've got different boxes around town. So we're collecting school supplies, and 2 weeks from now, we'll be taking a drive up there to go deliver it to these kiddos. It's not going to help with all the burdens that these families have, losing their homes and their loved ones. But if it can help with starting them off with school and the families don't have to think about that burden at least, then hey, we can help with that. We can't do it all, but we can all do our part.
Yeah. Something that can help them kind of return to normal. That's usually what people are looking for in crisis like that. They're trying to, get the kids back in school and achieve some sort of relativity of normalcy after something like that. And, what a tragedy. I think they're still looking for some of those young people that were in a youth resort. And just some of the stories have just been horrifying to come out of there. But, definitely good to help other people. What else haven't we talked about or plugged that we should let people know about you?
I mean, I just want to encourage everyone to keep on doing the best that they can. And I don't really have any other updates besides the Sea Glass Soul Retreat, the workshops, and just getting these kiddos taken care of for the Hill Country.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
All right. It is www.jamiezenteno.com.
Well, Jamie, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And folks, order up our book where refined books are sold. The Sea Glass Soul, Forged by Fire, Tempered by the Sea, out December 3rd, 2024 by Jamie Zenteno. Forged by Fire. I did that the other night. Had the Taco Bell buffet. So next morning it was Forged by Fire. So I'm not sure what that means. People are like, there's no such thing as the Taco Bell buffet. That's the point, folks. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in to everyone. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And that should have us out.